You are the most important relationship. Before you swipe, text, or worry about being too much, start with you. Grow Therapy helps you build self-worth, set boundaries, and show up as your full self. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Hey guys, welcome back to Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. Happy New Year. I know some of you guys are like, huh? We're already at the end of January, and I do believe you wished us a Happy New Year already. Anyhow, it is the Chinese New Year. So that just went into effect. So Happy New Year, for those who follow the Chinese New Year's. If you do, or even if you don't, this year, 2020, baby, is the year of the rat. So the year of the rat, and with, in Chinese, the rat symbolizes wealth as well as the beginning of a new day. So I know a lot of people that don't really understand astrology or Bazi, any of that, but they just know I don't know, man, seriously, 2020, this is my year. This is the year of abundance and all that stuff. But it's the energy that's out there. So yeah, the year of the rat, wealth, the beginning of a new day. What are we doing? What are we putting out there, right? And see, rats they're very adaptable, they're resourceful, and them little heifers have very good intuition. So let me just tell you a quick story. I've always had a fear of mice, rats. I just don't do those things. Not that really I'm going to say a lot of people do them. I just don't. I've just always had this super fear of them. And I used to ask my grandmother when she was alive, what happened to me? Did something happen to me when I was younger that just put this fear of mice and all this stuff? And it's just crazy. And she's like, no, not that I know of. So even still to this day, I don't know where it came from. Maybe it came from another past life and there was something in there. I don't know. Maybe it was a damn rat in a past life. Yo, that just came to me. That's interesting. Anyhow, so when I was living in New York, I moved back to New York when I was, 17 or 18, I moved back to New York. And so I was living there for a few years. And my oldest daughter I'm not even sure how old she was. She was just a couple, I don't even know. That's not even relevant. Anyhow, so she put a toy down the toilet and it got stuck. And they had to come and tear up the toilet. So I'm living in Harlem, in a building in Harlem, and they tore up the toilet and they were, fixing it, but they weren't done. They had to come back the next day, but they, had the toilet still up. So this is a big ass hole. Yeah. Again, I'm living in Harlem, right? In the building, and it's a big ass hole. So because that hole was there, not a tiny hole, a big one, there's no toilet there. Them goddamn mice came in. So now there's lots of mice in there. and I can't sleep. I'm freaking out. I'm having anxiety. And I had just the 2 kids at the time, the 2 young ones. And I'm literally, and at this time I was married, and I'm like literally sitting on the bed, freaking the hell out. And I'm like, what is that? I'm waking at the time, my husband, I'm waking him up. I'm like, do you hear that? What is that? What is that? He couldn't sleep. So he's hella annoyed with me. And if you let him tell the story, he'd just be ODing with it. But anyhow, so I'm just like petrified. I mean, I just can't sleep. I can't do just anything. So it's dead ass in the middle of the night in New York. And I have 2 small kids. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't live here. I can't do this. So I got the kids ready in the middle of the night, got them in the car, packed up my car. And I said to my husband at the time, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm moving to Virginia. So either you're staying here or you're coming with me. So we roll out. And in the middle of the night, I just drive to Virginia and just show up at my mom's house. And that was it. And I never went back to New York. Well, I did go back to New York for a hot second, many years later. But anyway, so in the middle of the night, I packed up and I moved to Virginia. I had nowhere to stay and no plan. And something. I just was like, yo, I can't stay here with these damn mice. This shit is crazy, because my fear was so bad. And then I sent for our stuff, got a truck and got our stuff and, came to Virginia, got a place or whatever. But I'm saying all that to say is that that's how bad like my fear of mice was, that they ran me out of New York. And I went back to VA, and that was just crazy. So then I'm in VA, and there's a couple of places like I've been at and stuff, and there's a fucking mouse. And I'm like, why the hell is there a mouse here? Then they're like, I was living in an apartment complex, and they were, the back door was open. And then, so they was like, the mouse came in because it's a field mouse. Oh, nothing to worry. But I'm like, yo, why the hell are these goddamn mice following me? And I'm like, I thought mice only come if a mouse is only come if it's this or it's that. And I'm just freaked the hell out. Like, what the hell? Because I have this terrible, terrible fear and this anxiety, and I feel like I can't breathe. All this stuff over a damn mouse. So completely fast forward to now that I've been on this self-discovery, like this journey, I'm really starting to think that the damn mouse was my spirit animal and was there to help me. And here I am killing them and packing up and moving and just running away and all of that crazy stuff, because I didn't know any better. That it was my spirit animal that was popping in to help me. And if I could only even remember the time frames when a mouse would like show up, what was going on in my life, I'd be like, that's exactly what that is. And I'm still not fond of them. However, I don't freak out now if I see like a hamster. Like my kids want a hamster. Hell no, you're not getting a hamster. If I see it on TV or something, I gotta like turn my head because I get like freaked out. But I'm gotten a lot better with it because I'm understanding, like, first of all, I mean, it's not going to harm me. What is it going to do to me? I'm a big old baby. But anyway, with like these mice and rats and stuff, like they're very adaptable, right? So I know I'm very relatable, like to people, and I can also be put in different situations, and it's just like, bam, boom. Okay, so I'm around this group of people, all right, I can adapt to it. I can adapt to this situation. Okay, cool. I can make this work, like whatever. And then it's also reminding us to be resourceful, right? How can you, embrace the energy? It's the year of the rat. So embrace the energy of the rats where you can tap into being resourceful, using your resources and not waiting for everything to be perfect until you have this, and this, right? Like not waiting like for that, but just using your resources. Like, what are those resources? What's your network? Maybe it's people that or maybe it's things that you can, you have around your house that you can just sell, right? You can sell them there around your house and then use that money to pay for your business cards and to pay for an ad somewhere. Like, just be resourceful. So, I would definitely say to all of you guys, let's tap into like the rat energy. And then also, because they're really good with their intuition, them sneaky little heifers, right? Like, is it time for you to really hone in and tune into your intuition and trust it, right? Trust it. So yeah. So anyway, Happy New Year. It's the year of the rat, 2020. Wealth, let's go. Money, your new opportunities, new day, all that good stuff, right? So I've already been hearing this a lot, whether it was intuitively, like through meditation or popping up, that it was time for me to be bold and take a risk, right? So that message was coming through so strong for the longest. Be bold, take a risk. Look, I don't mind jumping and growing my wings on the way down. I have no problem. I've always been like that, right? I've always been like that. So it's also kind of like calling me out, right? But I was stuck, and I've been stuck in this thing where it's like, be bold, take a risk. Okay, but just tell me what to do, because I'm going to do it. You know, I'm like, okay, so how am I going to be bold? How am I going to take risks? What is it that I am to do? So because I was thinking and so much logical and so much in my damn head, I was stuck. I'm like, look, I don't mind being bold and taking a risk. I just don't know what the hell to do. So guess what I did? Nothing at all. Like, I'm just stuck. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm meditating. And I'm having a conversation with, one of my mentors, right? And I'm talking to her about it because when she does my readings before that's come up, it's time for you to be bold and take a risk. And I was just sharing with her, and I said, yeah, I've been sitting there like busting my brains, like what to do. What should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? Then just coming up with nothing. And she gently reminded me that you don't have to force anything, that when the opportunity presents itself, you just go for it. And I just sighed because I know this, I teach this, but I have forgotten it. And I was trying to force something, which is why I couldn't figure out what should I do? How should I be bold? How should I take a risk? And I know that when I create that space, whether it's through meditation, I'm journaling, whatever the case is, when I create that space, the divine will drop in what's needed. And when that idea or that, I'm connected with a person or something, I'll know exactly, and I just move, right? And be bold and take that risk. So, after sighing and just feeling better, I was like, okay, because I've been driving myself crazy. I'm just like, I'm bold and I'll take a risk and I'll do whatever it is, but I don't know what to do. So I wasn't doing anything. So she gave me that reminder. And just so as I'm recording this episode now, 2 days ago, I'm lying to you. Yeah, 2 days ago, I went to a talk, and it was a talk on the Baha'i faith. And there was a particular actor, celebrity, we call it, that was there giving the talk. And it was pretty cool. So, I was in the front row, and, I know a couple of people because and the person who's putting it on and all that good stuff, right? So, I already had it. At first I had it in my head. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a picture. I already got my caption that I'm going to post on this, and people who watch this show are going to totally get it. Haha, that's great. So I'm sitting in the front row, and it's he's only steps away from me. So he's talking and people asking questions, and it all started from when he made this comment, and he said, he was a little nervous. And I always thought, why do actors and actresses get so nervous when they're these big celebrities, did all these movies and stuff? And then he answered it I was just thinking this in my head. And he said, this is, a little different for him because he said he's used to reading other people's words, and now he has to use his own words. And I was like, that's it. That's why they feel like that, because they're reading a script. Someone gave them those words to say, right? So I thought that was beautiful for him to even be so just vulnerable and just to put that out there, right? So he said, you know what? I do a lot better if people are asking questions versus just standing up there and talking. And I could definitely relate because that's how I am. So if I'm giving a talk, I want to be interactive. Ask me a question. Honestly, that's when I'm at my best, is when you're asking me questions, right? So anyhow, my hand went up to ask this question, but then someone else, had put their hand up first or whatever. So they asked their question. And then I was like, dang, that's kind of what I was going to ask. So at this point, I was like, I'm not going to raise my hand, to ask, to say anything or whatever. So a couple people asked questions, and the whole time I'm intuitively, it's you need to ask your question because the other person didn't ask it the exact way of what you wanted to know. So ego kicked in a little bit, was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to ask anything. And then probably about 5 minutes later, someone says, she raised her hand and was like, I have a question. So she was like, if it's okay, I want to go like way back and ask this question. So sure. So she asked the question and she said, what made you, become a Baha'i? Right. And I was like, that's what I wanted to ask. The other person had asked the question was like, oh, when did you become a Baha'i? But what I wanted to know was, out of all these religions and these different things that's, out here, what led you to become a Baha'i? So I needed to ask that question, and I didn't know why I needed to ask that question, but here I am, hesitating and not asking the question. And I know my spirit guides stepped in and intervened, because when the girl asked that question and the answer, in the middle of the answer that he gave, it was something that stood out and resonated so much with me. It hit my soul. And just a little snippet of it, he said, yeah, if it wasn't for Baha'i, like the Baha'i faith, which, represents kindness and believes that all religions are one, like we're all just one. Let's just rock together, because there's no separation, right? And he said, if it wasn't for Baha'i, I don't think I would have gotten married, because of my belief about marriages before the Baha'i faith, about being married. And it resonated so much with me because, and I know a lot of people, like, what are the things when it comes to like being married? I know for me, I've been married already, right? I married my high school sweetheart and we ended up divorced. And I was like, nah, I'm never getting married again, because this was my thought like years ago was, if it didn't work out with my high school sweetheart, why the hell would it work out with anyone else? And I carried that belief around for a very, very long time, for a lot of years. And that was really until I got into my second relationship with my youngest son's father. And, that started to shift, and that belief was going, like away. And I was like, okay, I might be open to marriage. Might, just a little bit. Things just started shifting. And then I can't even really tell you what my thought is on marriage right now and what that actually means to me, because I'm still shifting through that. Anyway, so I know now why I needed to ask that question, because there was a part of what he said. So anyhow, so that happens or whatever. And then it's over with, right? And now this is the time where, if I guess people want to get like their picture taken and just to kind of like hang out and all that good stuff. So he's right there in front of me. So perfect opportunity, right? To say, hey, can I get a picture? And everybody they came up there to ask questions, shake hands, or whatever the case was. So in that moment, this conversation or something, I still don't even know who it was. It was a celebrity that I was watching or whatever. It popped in my head and the whole thing ran in my head. And he said, whoever the person is, because I swear I cannot remember who it was. He was like, what really kills me? He was like, I don't mind taking pictures with people. He said, but if you have the one opportunity to, you meet a celebrity, whatever, or influencer, whatever this person is, right? That you're like, oh my God, right? You have that one opportunity. Why are you going to waste that opportunity by asking for a picture? Why don't you ask a question? Get the knowledge. Who was it that said this? If anybody remembers, like, message me and tell me who it was. But I was watching it, whether it was on Instagram or whatever. But anyway, so that went through my head and I was like, you have one opportunity. Why are you going to ask for a picture just so you can put the funny caption on it, right? Because that's what it was about. It wasn't like, oh my God, look who I met. Oh my God, I'm so great. It was just like, yo, this caption was going to be hilarious because you all watched the show, right? So that popped in my head and was like, you got one opportunity. So I'm sitting down, he's standing in front of me, and I was like, all of a sudden, I said, hey, I have a question. And then he turned around and he was like, yeah. And he sat down next to me and I was like, so I'm the host of this podcast called Seeing With Your Soul. And I would love to have you on my podcast to talk about the Baha'i faith, but also to go a little deeper about, and then I explained, the part where he said about the marriage and his thoughts on the marriage and stuff before then. I said, so what would be the best way to, to set that up? And I was like, oh yeah, I was like, and I said it just like this. I was like, I did DM you that, but I don't know if you operate your own like IG. And he started laughing and he was like, he was like, I get so many. He was like, there's no possible way for me. He said, but the best thing to do, the best way to reach me is, he's like, let me give you my personal email address. So he took my phone and he put his personal email address and his name under it. And he was like, don't laugh. He's like, because I've had this email address since I was 17. And then he was like, so what's your name? Guys, I didn't even say my name. I just went straight into like, so I'm the host of this podcast called Seeing With Your Soul. And I was like, Tisha. And he was like, okay, yeah, cool. He's like, because I want to make sure that I remember. And I was like, well, I have my card. He was like, yeah, give me a card. So I give him, my card. And, he looks at the card and whatever. And he was like, yeah, so email me. Okay, cool. And I'm like, okay, so in my mind, what just runs through my mind is when I was talking to my mentor and she said, you don't have to force anything because when that opportunity presents itself, you will be bold. You will take that risk. And that's what ran through my head. And I said, holy shit, that was it. Look, y'all, I'm on here, talking to y'all and do some little bit of videos and all this stuff. But like, that was super like big for me that I just was like, it just boom, it just like happened that I had that level of confidence because there was no ego. Ego was way back there. I had that level of confidence to be like, oh, so I'm the host of a podcast and I would love to have you on here, da 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 da. And I didn't give a shit if he said, oh no, I don't do those things, or no, or here, talk to my assistant or whatever. It didn't even matter, but I had enough confidence in myself and enough confidence in my podcast and enough confidence in like my listeners that I know that this would benefit you guys, benefit me, right? And I just went for it. And it was cool, right? So this was also like the funny thing. So one of my friends is there and so is her son. So he talked to her, her son. They had conversation. They got pictures. So then we went up to the back. And we were in the back where the stacks and everything and everybody was up there with him. And with the actor and taking pictures and all that stuff. So her son was still in there and she was like, look at him. She was like, he wants to talk to him again. And I'm like, well, he needs to like be aggressive, be assertive. He needs to make his way up there because he just needs to. So I was like, I'll be back. So I go up there and I'm talking to her son and I'm like, look, this line and these people they're going to keep coming. So you can't just like sit here. You got to get up there. And if you want to ask him another question, you need to just go up there. Right. So I said, come on, go. I said, matter of fact, just go and he had already taken a picture. I said, go to take another picture with him. And then you can have that conversation with him while you're doing that. So, he gets up and he goes and I'm standing by the stage. So the one who's hosting it, she looked at me and she was like, oh, are you trying to get a picture too? And I was like, no, I'm good. Because guys, I don't need no damn picture now. I done said what I had to say, right? I don't need no picture. So I'm standing up at the stage and it's kind of dwindling out. Everybody's taking their pictures and stuff. So then he turns around, the actor, and he turns around and he looks and he says, he turns around and I was like, oh, hey. And I said his name. I was like, which is my friend's son. I said, he wants to talk to you again. He was like, oh, okay, cool. So at this point, guys, I'm really feeling myself because I'm acting like he's my people's and I know I'm just calling him his first name. I was like, hey, he need to talk to you. So he turns around to go to talk to the kid. And then he turns back around to me. He goes, do you want to get a picture? And I said, sure. Right? Like, sure. Right? Put my purse down and get up there and I take the picture with him. So guys, I asked the question, asked about him being on my podcast. And I got the damn picture and I didn't even ask for it. He asked me. So if any of you guys follow me on Instagram, you know who I'm talking about because I actually sent the picture to my son and then he put it on his story and tagged me in it. And I was like, I'll just put it on there. That's fine. Like, or whatever. So if you do follow me on Instagram, you know who it is that I'm talking about. If you don't, it's a secret. So I'm going to hold off on that until we get this podcast recorded, right? So anyhow, so then my daughter, my 14-year-old, sends me a video. She's like, oh my God, Mom. She was like, one of my friends just sent this to me and was like, she was on TikTok and the For You page, which is like the main page or whatever, there was a TikTok of the talk or whatever, the actor. And I was in it and it was it was when he sat down next to me and was having a conversation. And I was like, look at that. How crazy is that one of my daughter's friends, didn't know anything about it, was on TikTok, sees this on there and was like, that's Destiny's mom, and sends it to, takes a screenshot of it or a recording of it, whatever, and sends it to her. And I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. First of all, I didn't even see the people which there were some younger girls next to me. I didn't even see them like recording that, of course, because I had this conversation with him. But I thought it was just so cool that happened, because I knew that was nothing but my spirit guides just reminding me of who the hell I am, right? Of who I am. And that, yes, you just had that conversation, that one-on-one side conversation where you said, I have a question, and he sat next to you and he put his information into there. Like because the ego will make up all these stories and have you so goddamn fearful to just step out there and be bold and take like this risk, right? So it was such a beautiful, beautiful feeling to be that confident and be bold, taking a risk, and didn't give a goddamn what the outcome or how it was gonna be, right? And that's what this is just all about, right? Is taking risk and being bold. Because how do we know what's going to happen? Or how do we know, how much we can like accomplish or successful or anything if we just are fearful or just fearful of everything? Like, it's crazy, or trying to figure out things instead of understanding that we do have to take action. We do have to take, however, the more that we stay trying to figure out what to do, we don't end up doing anything. We just be stuck versus, you know what? I'm going to create this space, and opportunities and things are going to present themselves to me. And then I'm going to be ready. And it was so crazy because I'm sitting in there, and it wasn't like, sometimes I've been like that. I'm like, should I say something? Should I? And I go back and forth. I'm literally just, this thing is over and I'm sitting there and my mouth just opens and says, hey, I have a question. And I said it just soft like that because he's right in front of me. Hey, I have a question. Like, who is this chick? Right? Like, who was talking through me? Like, and I thought that, again, it was just so beautiful, 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 beautiful. And to just have that level of confidence that we all have, right? We just got to get out of our damn head. Got to get out of our head. And see, for me, which will be the same for all of you guys, is the more that you create space in your energetic field, the more you'll be able to receive these downloads and these messages and these thoughts, right? So I do a pretty good job of creating space because I meditate a lot, right? I meditate a lot. I take a lot of deep breaths. I mean, I'll just be boom, just in through my nose and out through my mouth, right? And I will take that. So I'm constantly creating space, right? So now I have this space that's open. So when I'm sitting here like, I'm going to give me a picture and this is going to be so funny, right? And then boom, spirit drops in my head and I replay. Still don't know who the hell it was that said it, but was like, if you got that one opportunity, why are you going to waste it on a picture? You better ask a question. But I created that space. That's why I was able to hear that. Okay, you're right. This is the one opportunity. This is what this is. And that's what it's all about, is creating the space so you can receive these messages and all this. So I'm saying all that to say, because I wanted to tell the story. And I'll go into like a little bit more like when I have him on the podcast, because guess what? He's going to be on this damn podcast. Believe that. I 100% believe it in my soul. It was all planned. And even, I'm going to share more of the actual story of how I even was led to that in particular when I do have him on the podcast. So I'll go into it there. So anyway, so it just goes back to like, guys, all of us, let's just be bold and let's take risks. What the hell? Let's just go for it. Whatever it is, let's just go for it. So if there's something that as I'm sharing that story and talking about that popped into your head, do it. Do it. That is your intuition just saying, yes, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. And don't worry about what's going to be the outcome or anything of that sort. Because even if like we put things out there, right? And we're bold and we take a risk and someone says no, that's okay. But guess what? We just showed that level of confidence that we could put ourselves out there and to do that. And guess what? You won't hesitate to do it again. So it's all meaningful. Like all of it is meaningful. Just be bold, take risks. So I would love to know what you guys are like thinking and what you guys want to do, and or maybe just even share like a story with me of like how you were bold and how you took a risk and what was the outcome. of that. So the other thing that I wanted to, to talk about that goes with being bold and taking risks kinda is, and you've heard, if you've listened to some of my podcasts before, you would have heard me talk about releasing what no longer, serves us and letting go, right? So we had we had the new moon. The new moon was on, oh my gosh, I should know this right off of, was it the 24th? I believe it was the 24th. January 24th was the new moon that we had. So with the new moon, it's all about like setting your intentions, and it's a new moon in Aquarius. Yeah. So anyways, it's all about setting your intention, and this energy was really heavy, and I was feeling the energy the couple of days before. And there was something that I've been doing or been a part of for about, oh gosh, man, maybe now a year, maybe if not a year, almost a year. And, I was like a part of it, and I was like doing my part, and it was starting to be like rough for me. And it was rough for me really because, 6 months ago, I packed up and I moved to Arizona. So I was in this transitional phase, and I'm just getting towards like the end of it. And, a lot of stress and worry and just change and just everything that was going on. So then to have like these things, these other commitments, and I'm, grow my podcast and rebrand myself out here and get clients out here because it is left from like my state and all that. So it was beginning to be it was a big commitment, and it was something I had to do like every week, and I had to, send something and, upload like videos, and I wanted to stop. But I felt bad, because like I really like them and they're amazing and they're great, and I want to do my part and I want to help because I believe in what they're doing, right? But it was really like hard for me to do, and I was like missing like deadlines on it, and that's not like me at all. But then I also was like, it didn't bring me any joy. It was starting not to bring me any joy, but it was starting not to bring me any joy because I felt so stressed, and like it was so much stuff that I had to do and that I had to like focus on, and then to do this was just like, but it had nothing to do with them and what I was doing. It was just because like, oh man, this is another thing. And I wanted to just stop. But again, I felt bad. So I knew that it wasn't serving me anymore. And it was nothing bad. Nothing bad. I don't have not one bad thing to say about them or about what I was doing. It just wasn't serving me anymore. And I knew it, and I felt it in my soul, and everything was saying like, you gotta stop. You gotta say something. You gotta say something. And I didn't. And I just kept just doing it. Like I said, I missed a couple of deadlines. I sent it in late. And again, that's not me. And I was sitting there the night, and I said, now this is all 2 days before the new moon. And one thing I know for sure is when you know you are to walk away from someone or something that no longer serves you, and you know you were to do it and you still don't, and you don't do it anyway, the universe will do it for you. And most of the time, it's very rough and upsetting and devastating. Like, oh my God, I knew I should have stopped. Oh my God, da, 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 right? And that happens. So I know that. I'm a firm believer in that. I know that. And yet I still chose not to let it go. So I'm laying in the bed, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this video. I got to get this video. I was actually having a hard time because of the Wi-Fi, so it wasn't sending. So I was like, I got to get it. Maybe I'm gonna have to leave out of here and go somewhere to get it sent. And I'm just laying here like, oh man, I really don't want to do this and all that. So then 20 minutes later, I get a message from the person that's the head of it. And you know what? Can I read this message to you? That might be doing too much. I'm doing too much if I read that message. That's not even cool to even do. I'm gonna read a little bit of it to y'all. She's like, okay, because I had said something about the wife. Thanks for your participation with blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say the name. We appreciate that you came on board with no hesitation at all and dove right on. However, we have a commitment to post at regular intervals, and you haven't been meeting that goal. When you don't give a heads up, it leaves us scrambling at the last minute. Such and such been dealing with the family crisis for the last 2 months, and I also have been dealing with some heavy stuff for about that long. Neither of us are able to cover. I get that Wi-Fi can be unreliable. I live in the country without high-speed internet and have to either drive a half an hour away to upload videos or plan so that I can do it at work. So I get it. So I appreciate that you were able to do as much as you did. This absolutely doesn't close the door to our friendship or other opportunities in the future. I just think that the thing isn't working out. I look forward to more magic at some point in the future. You know how it rolls when we get together. No ill will at all. Just got to keep it rolling on schedule. And we're going to pause. Normally, if something like that would have happened, because I pride myself in being on time. I pride myself on giving people 100% anything that is that I do. But then to like read like, you know, well, we can't cover it anymore and we need this to be on like this would have me freak the hell out and feeling so bad and just like, you know, freaking delete you off of Facebook because I'm embarrassed or anything of that sort. And I didn't feel any of that. And this is the level of growth. Right? So then I responded, I said, oh, with all these H's being dramatic, thank you. I've been wanting to stop because it was too much for me to keep up right now. But honestly, I felt bad. And I was like, and I didn't want to bail, even though it was hard for me to commit. And she's like, girl, you should have said that. It's not a big deal. I never wanted you to feel obligated. So it was like this whole weight lifted off of me, right? This whole weight just lifted off of me. And that was nothing but my spirit guide saying, knucklehead, you know, you should have walked away from this. We needed you to create this space because you can't see what we can see right now. But there's some things that's coming and you need to clear all the space, as much space as possible. And it felt good. And normally when the universe shakes you and moves you, it's like, oh my God, this is devastating shit. And it didn't feel like that, you know, at all. And it was just my spirit guide saying, okay, since you want to be a little chump and you don't want to man up and say something because you feel bad, that, you know, we're going to do it for you. So I'm saying all this to say, if you know that something or someone or whatever the case is no longer serves you and it's not bringing you any joy because it's just too much that's on you or whatever the case is, go ahead and part ways. Don't do like I did, because you know what I did? I was thinking that I was doing them a solid by just still sticking, you know, with it because I wanted to help them so much and I believe in what it is that they're doing. So there's nothing ever been bad about any of it, right? But when I wasn't walking away from it and removing myself from the equation, I actually made things worse. Like, they do have a deadline. They do need to, you know, have this up, you know, at this, because you have to be consistent, right? When you're building a brand or you're building whatever it is, and you have people that are coming and checking out your page or whatever the case is, and they're expecting this on Wednesdays from this person or whatever the case is. And what I was doing was, this is someone else's baby. That's someone else's baby that was trusting their baby with all these, you know, other moving parts and people and stuff. And I wasn't really treating it, you know, and this wasn't from the beginning. This was just kind of just more so like recently, you know, in the past couple months or whatever. And because I didn't want to walk away from it because I felt bad for it, I wasn't really treating it right. That's their baby. And I was just like, okay, if my thing is due on Wednesday and I didn't have it, okay, I give it to you on Thursday or whatever the case was. And that wasn't cool. And all I had to do was just man up and just say, hey, you know, this isn't working. But see, part of my personality in the way that I roll is that I will take on a whole bunch of stuff, right? Because I can do everything. That's just me. You know, this is my thought. I can just do everything. And I never like to say like, hey, I'm having a hard time. And if you've listened to me before, you would have heard me talk about, you know, I don't like to like ask people for help, and I just like to just, you know, just do it and make it happen, like, or whatever it is. But, you know, it was also that part of me that was like, you can handle this. You can do this. You can do this. And I didn't want to like not do it, you know, for so many other reasons, but it wasn't serving me anymore. It wasn't serving me anymore. And after like she sent that message and I sent the message back, like I told you, I had this huge weight, just it literally, like physically, I felt it lift off of me. And I got so excited because of the downloads that I was getting. Was like basically, Tisha Michelle, you have no idea that space that you created by this being released from you, what's about to come in. And I got the craziest chills, and I got up from my bed and I just started jumping around. No music, and I'm just jumping around. And I was like, thank you. And it wasn't so much like, thank you for rescuing you from this. It was like, thank you for always having my back. And I'm talking to my spirit guys. Thank you for always having my back, even though I'm in my own way. Ego is all loud. You know, that fear is in there where you don't want to disappoint someone. You don't want to let them down. You don't want to feel like you're bailing on someone. All this nonsense that you're making up in your head, right? And my spirit guys is like, yo, I got your back. Remember, we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove this from you since you're not doing this, because this needs to be removed because you got some stuff that you're getting ready to do. Some big things, right? And I'm super, super excited. So again, it may be fearful, it may be uncomfortable, but if you know that someone or something that you're doing, or maybe you have a business and you have a couple of, you know, moving parts to it, but some of it you just is like, you don't feel happy anymore. There's just no joy in it. Like you want to like walk away from it and all. Like I'm telling you, trust your intuition and go ahead and remove what no longer serves you. And just know that that's going to be replaced with something else that's for your higher good. You know, it's going to be for your highest good. So to go ahead and just remove it. So, yeah, man, 2020, there is just something about, and this is not just buying into the hype of like, oh, it's 2020, but if you really sit and you really just spend a couple of minutes to like yourself and you really think about it and just think about, say, this is the year 2020, and really sit with it, and you could feel the energy. You can feel the energy. You might not be able to get logical and put what's with that, you know, but just know that that energy feels good. And like, this is like your year. I say every year is our year. Right? You know, some people are like, oh no, this is going to be my year. Every year is our year, because even if, you know, with people who say like 2019 and 2018 was the worst year I had, no, that was a year that you banged out a lot of your lessons. So you may look at it as like your worst year, but it's like, nah, you learned some lessons. So now how are you going to apply those lessons going forward? You know, reap the rewards of like all those seeds that you were planted in there. Or maybe 2019 was the year where, you know, you were quote unquote rejected a lot. You received a lot of like no's. You started these businesses, or you started something, a relationship or whatever, and they quote unquote failed. Maybe all that happened in 2019, but it was just preparing you for 2020. You know, you had to be curved. You had to go through some detours. You had to go down some different paths to get to this path right here. It's all about perspective, right? So anyway, 2020, guys, 2020, we're going to be bold. We're going to take risks. We're going to walk away from what no longer serves us and be confident and comfortable in it. This year, we're going to tap into the energy of the rats, and we're going to be adaptable. We're going to be resourceful. We're going to tap into our intuition. We're going to trust our damn intuition. We're going to trust our intuition. So you guys got to stay tuned for when I have this person on my podcast, because it's happening. It's happening. It is happening. I know it. And it's going to be so dope, because I'm super looking forward into him diving deeper around the relationships and like the beliefs around marriage and all that good stuff. So thanks, guys. I was just kind of like rambling on and just talking and all this good stuff. So I definitely appreciate you, because you guys could be spending your time anywhere and you're choosing to spend it listening to me. So much love and light and gratitude that is being sent to each and every one of you guys. Until next time, bye. Thanks for tuning in to #Certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram @ItIsTisha. And if you want to be a part of the #Certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #Certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.